Good morning, Commissioner Eskridge.
Good morning, Janelle.
Thank you. Good morning, Commissioner Hobble.
Good morning. How are you this morning?
Very well, thank you. Good morning, Commissioner Murphy.
Good morning, Janelle.
Thank you, we hear you. And I see Commissioner Foster has joined us. Good morning, Commissioner Foster. Good morning, Commissioner Foster. Can you hear us?
Yeah, I can. Good morning, but I think maybe my microphone's not picking up super well.
Nope, we hear you now. Thank you.
Well, great. Thank you.
Okay, everybody, it's 8 a.m. I'll call the meeting to order. Welcome to all of our guests. And Janelle, do you want to go through the virtual meeting guidance, please?
Of course. Good morning, Commissioners, members of the public, and staff. To help us have a smooth meeting, I'm going to review just a few decorum rules for all. Number 1, please ensure your mic is muted unless you are speaking. Number 2, please state your name before speaking. Number 3, in general, please have your cameras on if possible. If you are speaking, you may turn your cameras off if you're experiencing technological challenges. And number 4, as a reminder, the public chat has been disabled, but you can still send messages to the host if need be. And this meeting is being recorded and streamed live on YouTube. That's the meeting rules. And let's have a great meeting, everyone. Welcome.
Okay, thank you, Janelle. That will move us to announcements. Michael, do you have any announcements you wish to make?
No announcements this morning. Most of my announcements will be during my CED update this morning.
Okay. That will move us to welcome for Zach Thompson, Biosolid Specialist. Marty, you're going to do the introduction. I'm not hearing anybody. Is that?
So it appears that Marty is maybe having some difficulties because I see he's just jumped out and is coming back into the meeting. So
Oh, okay.
you don't
Yeah,
mind holding, President Hubble?
Yeah, I just saw him leave and now just came back again. So we'll wait. We'll give him a minute or so.
Sorry, I'm here. My mute was not working. I apologize for that. Thank you for being patient with me. So I'm happy to announce that Zach Thompson will be our new biosolids specialist. He started about a week ago, and he's hit the ground running, helping us with our fall hauling season, getting out in the fields, learning the job. So we're really excited to have Zach here. And he's really going to be focusing on our regulatory and compliance aspects of the program. And the reason why Zach is really doing a great job so far and why we wanted to get him in the district as soon as possible is because he really has a passion for farming and a strong technical experience related to farm management, from fertilizer to soils. So he's been working on farms his whole life. And he has a really good customer service orientated experiences. And we really pride ourselves in the MetroGo program for providing that good customer service. So that's another great thing with Zach. He's from Evansville. He graduated from Evansville High School, and he has over 20 years of experience working on farms related to agriculture, retail, and other things. And the most recent position he had before coming to the district was as an agronomist for a family cash crop farm that dealt with soybeans and corn. So he's also pretty familiar with the district because he actually worked for some farms in the past that provide trucking and hauling fields for MetroGo. So he's familiar with the program from the customer's perspective. And while he's been in this farm work, he's been a big innovator. He actually oversaw some transitions to making more efficient and streamlined approaches to way farms manage their data and their operations, and incorporating new mobile tools and tracking and data systems. So I'm really excited for him to come in at this time as we're looking at some of those things as part of our biosolids management plan when it comes to our global management changes. So in his free time, Zach loves to spend time outdoors, loves the Badgers, especially Badger tailgates, and spending time with his family and friends. So join me in welcoming Zach to the district. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Marty. Welcome, Zach. It's nice to have somebody with that breadth of experience in a position that deals quite a bit with the public and farm operators and so forth. Yeah, nice. Okay, that will move us to any appearances by the public. Is there anyone in the public that's attending that wishes to have a say? Going once, going twice. I don't think it's Greg Freeze, I think, is the only public member here. Okay, we'll move on to the consent calendar where we have the minutes of the 28th of October, cash statement debt service fund, cash statement capital projects fund, and then the review of bids and award of contract for East Boilers burner and control replacement project. Any questions on any of those items before we get a motion? Okay, seeing none. Do we have a motion to approve the consent calendar?
Wilson, I'll move approval of the consent calendar as presented.
Okay, motion by Commissioner Wilson. Do we have a second?
Seconded, Murphy.
Second by Commissioner Murphy. Okay, so we have a motion by Commissioner Wilson, second by Commissioner Murphy to approve the consent calendar, items A through D. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And any opposed? None, motion carries. Okay, that will move us to topics of which there are none. So we'll move into the Chief Engineer and Director's report, begin with the CED update.
Thank you, President. Thank you, President Hubble. I have 5 items to report on this morning. And I'll start with the worst news and work my way through the others. On Friday evening, this last Friday, we had a 24-unit apartment building located on Crescent Road in Fitchburg experience a sewage backup in their basement through the clean out in the basement. The district was notified on Saturday that additional assistance was needed to rectify the situation. We have since been on site since that evening addressing the situation. It became evident during our evaluation that the sewer lateral to this apartment building was not field located, and as a result had not been disconnected from the abandoned sewer main and reconnected to the new sewer main as part of the Nine Springs Valley intercept interceptor project near Dunn's Marsh. We have contracted with a contractor. They have been on site connecting the private lateral to the new sewer main. It is anticipated that the repairs will be complete by the end of the day Friday. The district is taking full responsibility for the air, and we are doing everything we can to make things right for the property owner and the resident. Our new director of engineering, Kathy Wunderlich, has been on site working with the building owner and being in constant communication with the owner because it's obviously been a very difficult situation for them. There are no direct impacts on people or the environment since the wastewater was in a storage unit of the basement. It was not in any apartments. And there haven't been any uncontained sewage nor exposures to humans. So there wasn't any spills on the ground. We had to detour a section of the bike path immediately adjacent to the site, which has been a nuisance to the bike community. We did not violate any permits or laws. And so therefore we did not notify the DNR. However, we have notified the bike community and local recreation departments about the bike detour. The potential costs for this project to extend the new lateral is estimated to be around $100,000. We've been doing the work under emergency procurement guidelines, and I expect to return to you at the next meeting or maybe the meeting after that with a full accounting of the costs and asking for your post-construction approval. Thought I'd pause there to see if there's any questions.
Okay, any questions? Ezra, you have your hand up?
Just a quick one, Michael. What would the cost have been of connecting that lateral up properly when we redid the main or the regional interceptor, whatever it connects into?
That's a good question. And when we return to you and with the authorization, we'll do that analysis for you. I know there will be some additional costs as a good faith effort. When we opened up the lateral to the apartment building, the private side of the lateral was in really bad condition. It's about 40 feet of lateral. And as a good faith measure, we are going to replace that entire lateral instead of the district's side of it, and just get the whole project done. So there will be some additional cost to the district of about $15,000 to do that additional work on top of the work. It'll likely be more expensive because we're doing it on a time and material basis instead of under the unit costs of the contract. We'll provide a report to you.
Thank you.
I have one question, Michael. When was that supposed to have been connected? So how long was it disconnected for, do you know, before the backup occurred?
We'll have a full report.
Okay.
I don't have the answer.
Okay.
For some period of time, it's been several months. It's a large interceptor, so it holds a lot of wastewater. So, but we're still going to have to analyze all of that to see if there's any ground flow that didn't, make it into the interceptor.
Okay. Continue. I don't think anybody else had any questions. On a good news standpoint, our first floor remodel project is near completion, and part of the goal of the first floor remodel was to increase building security, and we have now put locked doors and security entrances in the operations building. And this week, the first step in that process is to get identification badges. So district employees are receiving their ID badges. Here is mine.
with our scan card to get in the building. So that's a really positive step for employee safety here in our buildings. Third, I wanted to give you an update on the $1.2 trillion infrastructure package. Everyone's talking about the infrastructure package. And this is the approval of this package is good for the nation and really calls attention to the state of infrastructure and the need to invest. And the federal government is investing. And the optimism in the utility sector is about the highest I have experienced, what we're seeing in terms of investment in infrastructure, with so many advocacy groups lobbying the federal government to invest more in infrastructure. Finally, we have something. But of course, we as a district have been monitoring it. What does it mean for us? We have been closely monitoring it all year. And the bill is multifaceted, and we're digging in and working with the experts at the National Association of Clean Water Agency, who they have lobbyists on the Hill. They've been monitoring it, who will be doing a deep dive into the details in the coming weeks. And there will be several webinars that will be coming in the coming weeks on what it actually means for us. And yesterday, actually, I participated in a local government briefing from EPA Assistant Administrator for Water, Radhika Fox, and she provided an overview of the package and what provisions there are for the water sector. And of the what I learned is of the 1.2 trillion so far, 50 billion will be directed toward water infrastructure. And of the 50 billion, about 13 billion will go to clean water agencies, wastewater agencies, such as the district. It appears the funds will target mostly struggling communities and those underserved for wastewater treatment. Emerging contaminants such as PFAS will also be funded, but mostly on the drinking water side. Funding would flow through state revolving fund loan programs. So the DNR will be heavily involved through the development of administrative rules and working with the EPA. And of course, developing those rules could take months or longer, and for how those funds would be distributed. Indications are that these funds, if available to us, will be in the form of forgivable loans or grants. How much discretion the EPA will give the DNR is unknown to us. And really the key question is how much funding will be directed towards low income and high need communities versus addressing other infrastructure challenges in other communities. That we don't have answers to those questions. If funding is available to us, the commission may have policy choices to resolve, such as utilizing funding to accelerating cash financing, building up reserves. The commission already has a very good policy on how to deal with one-time revenues, and we would use that as a guide to direct funding if it does come our way. If there is an impact on service charges, they would likely be gradual in over several years as part of a broad, financial strategy. The other thing that we're looking at is the infrastructure package will likely have other side effects. Some of them could be challenging for the district. We've experienced in times of good economy, construction project costs increase. And in bad economy, we usually benefit from low construction costs. Some of the commission members may remember after the recession in 2008, when we built about $70 million worth of infrastructure in 2011 and 2012 with the 11th edition and the maintenance facility and pumping station 18. We saw bids that came in about $20 million less than our engineers' estimates. So that just shows you how market forces can have a big influence on prices. So we're expecting that construction costs may increase, and we'll be factoring that into our CIP next year. Another factor is there will be a high demand for STEM-related jobs, science, technology, engineering jobs, particularly engineering jobs, as infrastructure needs and the demand for professionals to build infrastructure will be increasing. And this could mean some adjustments for us in our recruiting policies and how quickly we recruit and how we market our jobs. So that is the good and the not so good about the infrastructure package of what we know so far. And I thought I would pause there to see if there are any questions.
Any questions? I don't see any hands. Okay.
Okay.
I think you can move on, Michael.
Next topic. I've been monitoring with the Dane County Cities and Villages Association the filling of a vacant commissioner seat. They are still seeking out candidates, and that is the only report I have so far on that. So they haven't appointed anyone yet. Now moving on to equity and affordability. The commission has an ideal that came out of your strategic planning called equitable, and the meaning of equitable is that we deliver clean and safe water in an equitable and affordable manner, and that we want to pursue equity at both the micro and macro levels relative to ability to pay and cost of service. Now, these ideals give me broad direction to start looking at ways to do this. As you know, that I have been meeting with owner communities to discuss the macro side of the equation in terms of necessary investments or the cost of service. And the district has implemented asset management and adaptive management programs to keep expenditures as low as possible. Now I'm engaging a small group of willing owner communities to have an open discussion about the micro side of the equation, which is the ability to pay. The challenge has been that there is this, I'll call it a narrative gap when we talk about affordability. And it usually comes up when we propose increasing service charges. And the general viewpoint is that to keep rates as low as possible to only what the lowest income customers can afford. Unfortunately, this is a flawed context because it really doesn't serve those with income challenges because they need much more assistance than some adjustments in our service charges. And nor does it serve the district overall, who needs to make greater investments in public infrastructure. So we need a more strategic approach. Coming off the momentum of the owner meetings, I convened a discussion with the city of Middleton, the city of Madison, the city of Sun Prairie, and the Dane County Cities and Villages Association last week to see if there was any interest to consider targeted affordability programs. Because the district, we can't provide them. We do not have a direct relationship with households, but our owner communities can. And as it turns out, owner communities are very interested because they have their own investment needs with wastewater collection, drinking water, and stormwater, and they are very sensitive on how the full utility bill impacts those on fixed incomes or limited incomes. There are a variety of programs out there that are being implemented around the country, such as crisis assistance, low-income assistance, programs to lower bills, and even programs to build capacity. How do you help households budget better, or how do you deal with infrastructure in homes with leaky pipes? All of these programs can make a big difference and target those that have bill challenges. I should point out that many of these programs are great, but they have their own set of challenges if not implemented correctly. Penetration is a major challenge, and getting people to sign up for programs has many obstacles that require a team of professionals to remove those barriers, and requires a big investment and door-to-door work and personal interactions that make these programs successful. And so the work is many times underestimated. With that said, while the district may not be able to develop our own programs, we can nurture the development of a safety net across our owner service area. And that's one thing I'm committed to doing. In our meeting with the communities last week, the small team agreed to monitor the Madison Water Utilities upcoming rate case before the PSC. The new general manager, Krishna Kumar, who came from California and worked in Marin and had robust affordability programs, is proposing some of their rate dollars, about $650,000 of expenditures, to support successful targeted affordability programs. And the water utility is asking for letters of support, which I'm going to be writing one on behalf of the district, and the Dane County Cities and Villages Association is as well. And they're doing what appears to be all the right things with bill offsets and partnering with social service agencies to provide direct assistance. So I'm really encouraged by what the Madison Water Utility is doing. They're going to be being a role model for all of us as they work through the PSC. And if the PSC approves of this, I understand that they'll be the first utility in the state to allow utility funds to go to these types of programs. So the next step for me is to reconvene our small group in 6 months to see how things are going, and maybe even consider convening one of our district owner meetings to dedicate to this topic. I think this is a really important topic for us to continue to nurture and support. And so I wanted you to know and spend a little bit more time on what's happening here. So with that, I'll pause there. It's the end of my report, President Hubble, and I'll take any questions or comments.
Okay, thank you, Michael, for the update. It's very helpful. Anybody have any questions? Thumbs up from Tom, Ken. Okay, we'll move
Thanks,
on
Michael.
then to the regulatory and legal report. Paul? Saw your name somewhere. There you are.
Good morning, commissioners. Not a lot of new developments going on. I do want to highlight just a couple of things on the PFAS front. DNR will be holding a public hearing on the PFAS surface water rules coming up beginning of December, and we will certainly be monitoring that closely. And I have in the material in your packet kind of a summary of an updated summary on the EPA roadmap regarding PFAS. And, you know, I think there was initial concern when these issues first arose about the lack of federal response. And at least the current administration seems to be taking a much more aggressive view, both in the standpoint of looking at drinking water as well as other PFAS standards. So We'll continue to monitor that. What impact those will have on state initiatives is unclear at this point, but there is appears to be some significant involvement with that. The other thing, just in terms of our continued efforts on disinfection, we're working at wrapping that up, and that's something we hope to have on the agenda for our next meeting. So that's all I have, unless there are any questions.
Okay, any questions? Tom gave a thumbs up. Okay, I don't see any. Thank you, Paul. So let's see. I'm gonna go back. That takes us to the future meeting schedule, which is in the packet, or online, I should say. And I was just looking at it. So Dane County is expected to lift its mask mandate near the end of the month. So that we were kind of tying our meetings to the mask mandate being in place. So if that occurs, the next meeting after the end of the month would be, I think, the 16th of December. Is there interest there, or would you prefer to wait until January? We had the study session in November on the sewer service charges. And December doesn't look like it's got the UW agreement research and Oracle software. The other things aren't really populated. So I guess maybe we'll just continue with the virtual until probably sometime in when we get to the next study session. Does that make sense?
Yes, I think we're setting our sights on the first study session after the first of the year.
Okay.
So we can plan all our infrastructure around it. So they'll take
So I
some
think there's a lot
pre-planning.
of thumbs up on that. So I don't know what date that will be. Do you have an idea, Michael?
Amanda, do you have an idea of when we had targeted that?
I do not believe we did, but we will discuss it and make sure that that's shared with the next meeting.
Right.
Okay.
And
Okay,
maybe-
good. So the next meeting we'll know when our first in-person meeting will be in a couple years. Okay. So then any other business? If not, Tom?
I'll move we adjourn.
Motion by Commissioner Wilson to adjourn.
Second, Commissioner
Second by
Clark.
Commissioner Clark. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Hi.
Okay, well, thank you, everybody. Have a good rest of the day.
Thanks all.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank
Take care.
Stay safe. See you later.
Yep. see ya.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving. Oh, we got another meeting though, Ezra. Come
Oh,
on.
we do on Wednesday. You're right. I was thinking we wouldn't see each other till after. Take care.
Bye.